Hello everyone, it's John and Stevie again. We just did another video a while ago to talk about leadership and how the transition from managers to leaders. And so we decided to come back with another video because there are a lot of people who are very excited that we're recording videos about leadership. So here we're back.
The response has been really kind, and we're excited to continue sharing our journey with all of you today. And so we thought that based on your comments and what we've experienced in our own journey, that we should talk a little bit about what might have held us back. What's been our worst enemy? How have we gotten in our own way over the years?
And chances are, if you're looking at this video right now, you are probably young professionals like both of us. I love the word young, don't you? Don't you?
It does feel fun that I get to give myself that label because it's not often I consider myself young anymore.
Well, we're both young. Young at
Mm.
heart, young at being anyway. So you young corporate leaders and you young corporate professionals out there, our message is for you. And because we've been on this journey as well, and we want to share our experiences with you. So today our theme is about our own worst enemy as leaders.
So, what are those gremlins that have held us back?
Yeah. What is one of yours, Stevie?
Mm. Well, let me open up that dark closet and tell you that mine is self-doubt. It comes from a fear of not being good enough and constantly questioning whether or not I can do something. And it's not even questioning so much as just automatically saying, not for me, can't do that. I don't have what it takes. So that's the theme that is reoccurring in big decisions, small decisions, meetings every day. So that's my gremlin.
Hmm. And how has that manifested itself in your life, in your professional life, and you as a leader?
Yeah, I mean, it rears its ugly head in all different shapes and forms. From doubting whether I can do something, and so not putting my name in the ring for a position that I'm really interested in, to small things like not saying something in a meeting that needs to be said. And I'm working really hard to overcome that. But when I look back, sometimes it's cut me off. I've also been really fortunate in some of the bigger decisions where I've had advocates who have helped squash that gremlin to help me get to that next step, in terms of encouraging me. And had I not had those people or those cheerleaders, I probably wouldn't be where I am today.
Mm, mm. It's tough, isn't it? We face them every single day, these gremlins.
Yeah.
They pop up all the time.
And what's on the face of your gremlin? What is yours doing?
Mine tells me that I'm not good enough either, as well.
Mhm.
Every day, if I well, I'm a professional trainer and a coach, so it comes out, it manifests itself, especially when I have to lead a senior leadership program. When I have a bunch of senior corporate leaders sitting in front of me, or who are much older than me, much more experienced than I am, the gremlin comes up and say, John, you're not good enough for them. You're too young, or you're not smart enough for them. And who do you think you are to stand in front of them and share your experience?
Mm.
That little bugger just comes up and just uh,
A woman we both know and love very dearly always tells me that the fastest way to misery is by comparing yourself to somebody else. And that sounds exactly like what you're doing when you're in that audience. You're stacking yourself up against these people. How,
yeah.
how do you overcome that? How do you power through that gremlin?
Oh. I remember I was running a senior leadership program for a big automotive company, a German automotive company that shall not be named. And I was, yeah, I I realized at the first module, I overran in my time. It was supposed to finish at least 5:30, and I was still talking at 6 o'clock. And I realized that I was talking too much. So when my then boss asked me, so what happened? Why did you overrun? And I'm like, I probably talk too much. And he asked me, John, well, what made you talk so much? And it just hit me. He's like, what are you afraid of? What is your fear? What is the fear behind? And like, it just hit me. I'm like, I am afraid that they don't think I'm senior enough and not good enough. And hence I talk a lot.
To
And
compensate.
to compensate. So if I don't say something smart, if I don't impress them, then they think I'm too junior for them. And that gremlin was just circling my head, and hence I overran. And then going on to the next module, I told myself, I don't need to prove myself to them. I am good enough, but I'm not here to serve me. I'm here to serve them. So as long as I know that I'm good enough and I don't have to prove it, hence, then I'm good enough. So what I did consciously at that time was to hold myself back and not talk too much and to ask more questions and just be. That helped.
It's really hard to remember those triggers sometimes, though, in those moments. It's about taking that time, that mindfulness up front, and giving yourself a bit of a pep talk, isn't it? Saying, I can do this. Don't talk too much. I own this space. And it's finding ways to remember to take those moments to kind of talk that gremlin down.
Yeah. And I'm sure there are a lot of corporate leaders out there who probably feels the same. And I think their gremlins may come in a different form or different phase, but we all feel the same. Yeah.
It's interesting. On the other side, gremlins I found have also helped me in my career. Those nasty little creatures have pushed me to be my best. Now, of course, there's always a limit, but I feel like I have been successful because I do have those little voices pushing me to do even better than what I was thinking I should be doing. There's obviously a limit, and some might call that perfectionism, which I like to think I'm recovering from. But I also have learned to appreciate those gremlins also in a positive way, which helps me kind of frame them, give them their little home, and try to use them when I need them.
Well, for our viewers, Stevie and I decided to do this video series together because we stand for young corporate leaders, and we also both stand for our own little quest for ourselves. I want to reach out to Asian leaders out there, and for Stevie, what is your quest, and who do you want to reach out to?
I'm really passionate about supporting young women in their careers, whatever that might look like, whether it's developing to the next step or growing in the current position they're at, but in encouraging and inspiring them to take control of their career and achieve what they want to and not feel limited.
Yeah. And so in relation to the group of people that you want to influence, how do you think your gremlin, your fear, is connected to who you are? A senior woman sitting on a leadership role?
Well, I think who we are as people comes from our family, how we're raised, associations as children. It also is from our DNA, right? So there's the social aspect and there's the genetic aspect. And when you look at studies on women, and when I talk to some of the young women where I work, it seems to be very consistent that women have high self-doubt. We're also extremely self-aware. And of course, I'm extremely generalizing right now about a very large number of people with a few short words. But you do find that as women, we don't necessarily raise our hand to say, pick me, I can do that, because there is such high self-doubt about us not fulfilling a full set of requirements. And so I think that sometimes we get in our own way. We're not as vocal as we could be or as confident as we could be in saying, I want that for my career or as a leader, and we can hold ourselves back. And that's part of what I try to do when I mentor younger women in the company, or any corporate leader for that matter. It doesn't necessarily need to be women, but I am quite passionate because there is a trend that women are not getting into leadership positions. And it's something that I would like to help support and fight against in a balanced way.
Yeah. You know, I have a great admiration for a lot of senior women, because a lot of senior women, well, many of them have families, and many of them have full-time jobs at home already. And being able to lead 2 full-time jobs, I have big admirations for them. And I think they are doing well, and that I'm not good enough gremlin, it's just BS for me. There are a lot of leaders, including yourself, Stevie. You are a highly influential woman, in my perspective, and that gremlin is just very irrational.
And it's so funny as you say that, Gremlin right now is shouting. You're just saying that because we're on a video, John. But ultimately, that's the choice that I have to make. And I think a lot of leaders have to make when you have a gremlin, whatever it's saying to you, to push that aside and just take that compliment or take that feeling from the gut to say, no, I can do this. So it's also about, for me, listening to my body, not just letting that gremlin who's got real estate up here guide all these decisions.
Yeah.
And so, John, go ahead. Yeah.
No, you go.
How are you seeing your gremlins tied to the young Asian leaders in the corporate world? How are you seeing that be representative of them as well?
Yeah. You know, I think that in our culture, in the Asian culture, there is this thing that is in our heads and that we're being brought up telling us that we're not good enough. If we look at the economy in the past when we were growing up, and the time when our fathers, our grandfathers were in the workforce and doing that, it's dominated by the West. I realize that there is a racial difference here, and so you represent the West, but without being racist or putting anyone in any boxes. The past 30 years, 20 years, or 100 years, the world economy is dominated by the West, and hence when us growing up in my generation, our generation growing up, we've always been told, or somewhat been told, directly or indirectly, that we're not good enough. People of our skin color were always second best, and that is a mentality that till today, we still have. That because of my skin color, I may not be as good as you. Again, not putting anyone in boxes, but that's the BS that we tell ourselves.
It's the subconscious messages that you're fed, and we're seeing that shift of power, especially economically, transition. So what advice would you give to young Asian corporate leaders to overcome that BS, especially given the shift of economic power now to the East?
My getting goosebumps thinking about it. The gear has shifted. The gears have shifted. The economy, just looking at the numbers, China is dominating the GDP charts, and including India, for the past how many years, and for sure it's gonna go into number 1 power. And along with China, all the other Asian countries is gonna step up in their GDP as well. With the numbers, there is gonna be a huge need for Asian leaders to step up to that ladder. We're seeing more and more leaders going into leadership roles in global companies. We've seen a lot of companies within China or within Asia stepping up into that role. And hence with that need it comes a lot of opportunity. There comes a lot of expectations on us Asian leaders to step into that role. So hence, if we keep telling ourselves that BS, that we're not good enough, then for sure we'll not be good enough. But if we embrace that paradigm shift, that movement, and tell ourselves that I am just as good as Stevie, despite our skin color, despite our gender differences, we're still human. we both have passions, we all have values, and just knowing that is able to help us step up. And that gremlin, irrational.
And what I'm thinking of as we want to close out this video today is, while you're representing young Asian leaders and I'm speaking on behalf of women in leadership and in corporate positions, times are changing and leaders are needed no matter whether you're from the East or the West, or you're male or female, or Asian or German or American. Leadership in all of us is required. There needs to be inspiration coming from everybody, no matter what world you influence, big or small, whether it's your family or your friend circle or your corporate circle, or even larger in a socioeconomic circle. That we don't want to send the message that it's just about Asians or women, but that leadership is needed at all levels across the world right now.
Yeah. And our fears, our gremlins are always there, no matter who you are. And just being able to face it head on, and knowing that it's feeding you a lot of rubbish in your head, and be able to acknowledge it. I love your 2 words in the last video, presence and being mindful. That I feel that's the key to be able to defeat our gremlins.
And I would also add today, using your full body, because the gremlins take up space up here, right? We both talked about that in the voices that we're hearing. And using your heart and your stomach to overcome them is one of the ways that I've been successful, and probably you as well, John, in terms of quieting those voices. It doesn't always have to be just what's happening up there.
Yeah. How often do they just go just be?
Exactly.
I love our conversation. I love our viewers who are interacting with us as well. We want to do more videos. We want to reach out to you, and we want to talk to you. So if you've got any thoughts, leave a comment, and Steve and I we love to be in conversation with you.
Let us know what you're thinking. These videos are for you. So get in touch.
So until the next video.
Until then.